Welcome to episode 90 of Tools in the Hall. After dark. I've got 3 cool handguns to show you. I'm sure you haven't seen at least one of them, so stick around for that afterwards. And I don't have a ton of tools, but this particular tool haul has stuff in it that I've never gotten in before, some specialty tools, and a really cool one from Milwaukee. So let's get right into it. This is a 13-piece standard set of what's called regular gear wrenches. These are the combination wrenches from Gearwrench that have a ratcheting box end, and they come on a plastic wrench holder. This 13-piece set runs 1/4 inch to 1 inch. And this is going to a well-established mechanic who works in the diesel industry, and I was really surprised when he asked me for these because I felt for sure he has these already, but I guess he lost enough out of the ones that he had and stuff got misplaced over the years where he just needs to fill out the set again. So instead of buying a bunch of individual ones, which can rather quickly exceed the cost of the set, he's buying a new set. The ones from Gearwrench have been around forever, and these are the original ratcheting box end combination wrenches introduced in the mid-90s by then a company called KD Tool, and Apex Tool Group bought them and turned them into Gearwrench, and now they're sold under the Gearwrench brand. These are the XL series wrenches, so they're a little bit longer, and you can tell they have a design element here at the open end, which denotes that it's the XL version, so these run an inch or two longer than the standard length ones, and that was one of his requirements too, was that he needed something a little bit longer reach, but he didn't want those long gearbox wrenches that Gearwrench makes, which has 2 box ends on them, one of which is ratcheting, and the other is fixed. They come with a flex head version as well, but he didn't want those. He wanted these instead, so these are the ones that he's getting. These have the older tooth count in them, the 72 tooth count. The new standard length wrenches have the new 90 tooth count in them. So yeah, we can't get every possible combination of features that he wanted, but his main goal for these was to get the length and to fill out an entire standard set. From Grey Pneumatic, these are the 33 millimeter 1 inch drive deep sockets. In the diesel industry, these are used for the lug nuts on large trucks and buses. You can also use 1 5/16 sockets. They are the same size. And I'm selling these to a shop whose 1 inch air impact I repaired in last week's video. So if you haven't seen that, please check that out. It's pretty interesting to see what makes the 1 inch guns tick. And now that they have that one working and they have another one that they bought from me, and they already had one that the shop owned, they now have a 1 inch gun for each bay in the shop, and they need sockets for them. So I'm getting them a few of these so that each one of their guns has a socket, and these guys will be ready to service their wheels at the drop of a hat. Right now they're kind of struggling with the guns that they have and the sockets they have. So this will give them a really nice setup, and they'll be good to go. Last week, a customer came to me and asked me to get him a crow's foot set, so I did, and I missed the mark completely because he referred to them as a crow's foot set, and when he saw what I got him, he goes, "No, those aren't them." And I'm like, "Well, what are they?" And he was trying to describe them, and he was going through just a bunch of adjectives, and nothing was ringing a bell, and I'm searching, and I can't find anything that matches his description, and he and I are on my computer together hunting for these things. He says, "Hold on," he says, "I think I can get you a picture of one." So he pulls it up on his phone, and what it was a tie rod pitman arm adjusting tool set from Astro. And you can see the different configurations that they have in there. You can use a 1/2 inch drive ratchet or breaker bar on them. And they have a 3/4 adjusting sleeve all the way up to a 1 1/8, or rather 1 13/16 diameter adjusting sleeve. So it's a 1 pitman arm tool and 4 tie rod tools, and when he showed me the picture, I'm like, oh, okay, I know exactly what it is. It's just kind of funny when you're working with people who have varying levels of experience or varying experiences in general, trying to find exactly what it is they're looking for. Sometimes you need some help, and I'm glad he was able to pull up the picture. Usually I can narrow it down pretty quickly, but I don't know, it was just like we were speaking two different languages. Finally, the pictures did the talking for us, and he's going to be getting this set next week. And this is a new one from Milwaukee. This is their M18 compressor. Runs on their M18 battery platform. Don't run anything less than a 5 amp hour capacity battery. It runs optimally with a 12 amp hour battery, and with the 12 amp hour battery fully charged, it's rated to deliver enough air to drive 1,600 nails. That's how they rate it. 68 decibels of noise means it runs really quiet, a little bit less than the average volume of a conversation, and it moves 1.2 cubic feet per minute at 90 psi, which is a recommended pressure for most air tools. So I had a customer who specifically wanted this one a few weeks ago. He said, I don't know if I want to buy it yet. So he was hemming and hawing. He said, go ahead and get it. So this one just came in. It's the first time I've seen it. I can't wait to get his feedback on it because I'd love to know how effective something like this is for his particular application. It'll give me something cool to talk about for anyone else who's looking for a rather lightweight, highly portable, cordless compressor if you want to run momentary air tools. I wouldn't recommend something like this for a constant tool like a die grinder, for example. But if you had something like an impact that you're going to run infrequently in short bursts, certainly something like a nailer, which is how they rate this, would be ideal for it. Short bursts with air hammers might be okay too, but you have to be mindful of the capacity and what the cycle time is going to be on this. You're going to empty this tank pretty quickly. So it's made for momentary use only, not for constant running tools. 3-year warranty on this guy, and he was on sale for $644.99. Now, before I hear all the comments about how expensive that is, this is tool truck pricing. Tool trucks are the most expensive buying option that a professional mechanic has. So just know that when you look at tool trucks versus Home Depot versus Amazon, I do not recommend buying anything that's of any importance off of Amazon. There's too many ways that can go wrong. And I'm going to shoot a video on that because I think it's really good information to have. Not very much time goes by at all that I don't hear somebody tell me how a purchase they made on Amazon didn't pan out the way they wanted. They were baited and switched, or they were given a defective tool and there's no recourse because they don't know who the seller was. It's not necessarily Amazon. And we'll go over that all in a future video because it's really important information to have. All right, now it's time for a tool haul after dark. From Browning, this is their 22 Buckmark target pistol. Beautiful rosewood grips with a gold inlay and a gold trigger. It has a slide that moves. It does not have the movement across the entire slide portion of this, rather just the rear portion slides. Fairly light spring on that, so it's easy to rack. A fiber optic sight with an adjustable blade sight in the back. So the front sight shows up really well when you're shooting. Comes with a couple of magazines. Super comfortable. I love holding this gun. It's a little square on the back, but you know what? That doesn't bother me. My hand fits it perfectly, and I love how this feels. It's a smooth shooting, very reliable gun. Browning has had this style out for many, many years. I first saw something like this when I was 18 years old. So we're going back a few decades when a buddy of mine's dad had one and he took us to the range and we were shooting it. It was a great plinking gun. Just a wonderful, wonderful target piece. And this particular one looks so nice. The stainless against the black and then that rosewood handle with the gold accents is gorgeous. Love this gun. Comes in a nice soft pouch. And I'll be delivering this and the other gun sometime this week. From Rock Island Armory, this is the M1911 A1FS. Standard 1911 design, chambered in 45 ACP. This one has a Vortex red dot sight on it. This was given to me by a customer who needs me to do a little bit of service work on it. It works fine, other than he has trouble feeding the round sometimes. So what I suspect is the feed ramp in here needs a little bit of polishing. And if you look in, and it's kind of hard to see, but right in there is the feed ramp. If you look at it in the light, you can see where there are some imperfections to how they've machined the surface. So I'm going to polish that down, and hopefully that takes care of his problem. There have been feed problems in 1911s before. Now, a typical design is the feed ramp is on the magazine. So what some folks have done is they just swapped out the magazine for an aftermarket magazine, and that has solved the problem. Inexpensive fix. But we don't have that option here because the feed ramp is in the gun itself. So unfortunately, we can't just swap magazines. We have to do a little bit of work on this ramp. So I'm going to polish it up, give it back to him, and you can see how it works. But the Rock Island Armories in general are maybe the best value in guns in general. Their 1911s are gorgeous, solidly built. There's no slop in the mechanisms here at all. They look great in that wonderful traditional 1911 style. This is a wonderful brushed nickel finish with the black diamond pattern plastic grips. Grip safety on the back. And with the red dot sight, this is a pretty sweet setup. And among other things, I'm also going to be sighting this in for him because he hasn't aligned the red dot yet. Fairly easy to do because the sights on here are fixed already. Lining up the red dot with the front sight shouldn't be that difficult, but we'll see. I might have to take this down to the range, test fire it a few times to put some test rounds through it. He gave me permission to do that if I had to. So this is a fun one. They're a little bit heavy, and they're really hard to conceal. I mean, you wouldn't walk around with this stuck in your pants. But they're wonderful shooting guns, great value because the prices are so affordable. You can get into a really good Rock Island Armory 1911 for well under $500. And you compare that to any other quality 1911, and there aren't too many others on the market that's even going to come close in price for the quality of the build of these. Love Rock Island Armory. I regularly recommend them to people, and so far, everyone I know who's owned one has been very, very happy with it. Why do I have a bag that contains 10 magazines? I've got a gun for that. From Palmetto State Armory. No, hang on. I gotta wrangle with the bag here. Smooth presentation, isn't it? I know. Oh my goodness. Okay. Palmetto State Armory has this 5.7 rock pistol. It shoots the 5.7 round, and they sell this gun with 10 magazines for like $649. Really good value. And when you look at how much a magazine costs, I don't know, let's say the 25, 30 bucks a piece. That's $250 to $300 worth of magazines that they give you with the purchase price of this gun. Now, I know a few guys who own this already because a number of them have bought this from me, so I've had a chance to get some really good feedback, and everybody says it's a fun shooting gun. It's rather light because it's all polymer except the slide in the barrel, so they save a ton of weight on this thing. White dot sights front and back, easy to acquire your sight picture and line up. Threaded barrel in the front too, so if you have a suppressor you want to put on there, oh my God. That's threaded on there. Trust me, that unthreads. That's just a protector they put on to keep the threads covered. Boy, they really put it on there. You would need like a soft jaw pliers to get that off, or wrap that in tape and then work it off. If you were to take that off, stippling on the grips keeps this firmly in your hand. It does not slip. has a nice combat trigger guard, so when you hold it, your finger very comfortably rests on the trigger guard to keep muzzle rise down. The cool thing about the 5.7 round is they're rather high velocity. You got a lot of muzzle speed coming out of here. I think it's in excess of 2,000 feet per second, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look that up to verify that. But the fun thing about these is just how fast the muzzle speed is, how light this gun is, the fact that it comes with 10 magazines. You buy a few boxes of rounds and you can keep shooting all day. It is ready to mount an optical sight to it. It has the mounting right there and also the cutout on the slide. So this guy's a good shooting gun, ready to go right out of the box. I really hope you enjoyed this particular tool haul. Please keep watching the channel. I will have, in the next week, I think, my new flyer drop video, which will highlight all the cool deals in my quarterly flyer that'll take us through the end of the year. That covers October, November, and December. Check out that repair video on that 1-inch Ingersoll impact from last week if you haven't done that already. And of course, we'll have more tools in the haul videos. So do me a favor and click down here now to subscribe so you don't miss any of it. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, use a tool. Don't be one.